Hi, my name is Nush, and I am conducting an experiment at the moment where I'm basically training myself for a year to become someone who independently can act, dance, and sing as if I was going on a tour. Essentially, being a touring musician with all these elements. Whether I go on tour at the end of the year, I'll still need to figure out, and I think halfway through the year, I'm going to make that decision. Today is the first of 4 days, well, 3 days, where I just happen to have 3 outings kind of like planned out, and they just happen to be one day after the other. So this is like day 1 of that kind of thing. And it pretty much is like my friend and I booked this show, Paddington. I've heard of that beer, but my friend is, one of our mutual friends he is performing, like he's in the show. So we made this plan. We were like, let's go watch him. Just happened to fall into week 2 of this experiment where I'm going to be doing it for like a whole year, right? And the first month is grounding myself, feeling inspired, like just really like honing in on the goals, honing in on my purpose as a person also. And so I started this journey today by picking up a book that I had just gotten out of my local library, one of them that I work at actually also, Tupac. And it's his authorized biography, it's written by someone that knows him, right? Like I knew him and like has known him since she was 20. And the funny thing is, I picked this book out a couple of months ago because I was working in the library, because I work in a couple of different libraries, and I forgot to get it. Like I put it to the side, I cleaned and tidied the library, and I just forgot at the end of the day to take it. And so I worked at this library again for the first time in a couple of months, and yeah, took that book out and I started reading it on the train. And initially I'm like, well, from the get-go, it's an inspiring book. It's talking about his mum, his dad, and how he basically was conceived, and then his mother carried out her term while she was in prison for being an activist and, you know, rebelling against the disparity that comes with being a person of color in America. And so I'm reading about this on the train. I meet with my friend. She is a dancer. She's about to go on tour. And my friend is touring. And the alignment of all of this is just kind of crazy, because I recently figured out that like I want my art not just to be about me, like I want it to be about a cause. And that cause is people, whether it be representing people, whether it be supporting people, whether it be reporting on people, you know, like that kind of thing. Like it's just humanity, essentially, love and liberation. So yeah, meet up with this friend, we go for dinner, we talk about life, we talk about how when you're creative you just tend to become quite alienated and you live a very different lifestyle to people who are not creatives. And so when you have friendships with those people, they slowly start to kind of die away, and you end up with just like a group of creative friends who are all like pursuing their lives and their livelihoods with creativity. And we talk about this and a bunch of other things. And on our way, we go to a bookstore, kind of look at different books, just have a little yap. And I think it's really nice to have friendships where we just kind of explore, and there's no like concrete plan apart from like going to the play, right? We get to the play, we go in, and it's like 3 hours of utter brilliance. Like writing, music, dance, like all the choreographies, chair, dance, choreography, like all of it is just like phenomenal. The pyro stuff, the sound, the lighting, like as a musician, I always listen out for like how good the sound is in shows. It was impeccable. Not one thing out of place, like just so clean. Obviously they'd done it for a very long time, and my friend actually mentioned after the show that like this is probably around like the 75th show of the showing so far. And I was just enamored by like the discipline that is required to be someone in that show. Anyone in that show, whether you were a main character or in the background, whatever it was, like it was just so sharp and clean, and it just spoke to me like on how dedicated and disciplined everyone was or is. And I frequent the independent scene, right? So like gigs, jams, whether I'm in them or I've been invited to them, or me and my friends want to go together. And I think, sorry, bear with me, I'm gonna have to stretch. The thing about that is there's no like standard, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It means that anyone can enter, right? But when it comes to modern theatre and just theatre in general, you have to hit a standard in order to be cast. Now obviously there's like casting biases and stuff, like depending on who's casting, but the thing that really stood out to me was like how well everyone was cast. And just bear with, it's like 1 something in the morning, I'm just exhausted. But yeah, I think like seeing just like the impeccable everything, like everything being so flawless, was just so inspiring. And I spent the whole 3 hours with nothing but like energy in my chest, my throat. Like there's a really big message in the show, which is like, it's never too late. It's never too late to start things. It's never too late to want to make something of yourself that isn't what you told yourself you could be. And like just rewriting self-talk basically was a really big theme in the show. And I cried buckets, bro. I cried so much. And me and my friend are just like stimming the whole time, like just laughing, giggling, like dancing, cracking jokes, like noticing details together, like noticing every time our friend came on stage, like, oh my god, there he is, there's Sunny. And yeah, it was just like really incredible. And even during the interval, me and her just looked at each other like, wow. And we made friends with the guy that we were sat next to. Turns out he was there to see his like child's friend. He was like very like the youngest actor in the show, and he was just talking about how like tiring it is for like such a small child to be doing this for like a year. And yeah, like they can do up to like 8 shows in a week. It's like crazy, like double shows in a day. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about endurance, with this experiment of doing it for a year. I want to have that endurance, and I think seeing it on stage was incredible. Like seeing people, god, like do jazz and hip-hop and like all these different styles, and they don't miss a beat. They're barely breathless. They catch their breath so quickly, and I'm like, I just want that for myself as like a wellness thing, but also like as a resilient like artistic thing. And yeah, we watched the show. My friend came out and he's giving us like backstage info, like with costume changes, how much he had to run up and down like the stage, and like upstairs, like flights of stairs to certain sections for different parts, and having to run all the way back down again. And I was reminded of the mini productions I'd done in high school, and yeah, it just put me back in that place, and how fun it was, how stressful it was, but how fun it was. And like that, like, do I want to get into theatre? I might want to get into theatre, at least acting, at least like, you know, voice acting. These are things that I really love. Like I can do an accent for days, and I love embodying characters. Like I just think it's so bit of fun. Like I could be a Scottish guy for like 3 hours when I played Dungeons and Dragons, like, and yeah, like it just really brought that to the forefront for me. And then we got to the station, because we like we're walking to the station. He gets on his train after we have a little bit of a yapping session. I also hadn't seen him in like 7 years, so it was just really nice to see him after such a long time. And then me and my friend, we sat down after like grabbing some food, and we just ended up yapping for 3 hours at the station. And like it was Waterloo Station and there's a piano there, and we're mid talking, and before she's even uttered the words of like talking about how she really wanted to get into piano, I was like, should we go to the piano? And she's looking at me and she's like, how did you know I was going to talk about piano? And honestly, like, with this girl, with Angela, she and I, whenever we meet up, there's just like a really cool like energy, and it only happens with a couple of my friends where like everything is aligned. Like, there are just too many coincidences for it not to be, right? And what you want to say coincidences, I'd call connections also. And yeah, we go to the piano, and there's this guy playing the piano, and he is playing it so beautifully. There are like so many people watching him, and he's so unbothered, he's not even noticing them. And he finishes his song, and as he is, we go and sit on this bench right behind him, and everyone applauds, whatever, and he turns to us and he's like, do you want to play? And we're like, no, you play. Then he begins to play Time from Inception. And he did Hans and was so proud, just sat there in his raincoat with his little W.H. Smith bag, like, and there's this moment where everything just melts away in the station, and it feels like we're watching him play on a stage, on a grand piano, and there's just a spotlight on him. And it's just his stage, and multiple people are mesmerized. At one point, a girl like belts out this one sound of like, sorry, my cat is scratching the door right now, bro, stop it. Anyways, she belts out this whole one note. We look up, she waves at us, and it's like a movie moment, like, and I turn to my friend and I'm like, well, she turns to me and she's like, this feels like we're in a movie. And I'm like, well, to be honest, I feel like this is what movies are trying to replicate, are these moments where for the whole world stop, and you know, everything just melts away into this moment. And what directors and screenwriters and all the rest of it, what they are basically, what they are displaying is moments like this. So when we feel connected in those moments and we're like, wow, this is like a movie, this is what movies are, or like what they're trying to represent, trying to evoke the feeling of, but you feel it naturally. And like the station announcements are playing in the background. And the funny thing is, I had a dream that was very similar to Inception about like 3 days ago, where I realized I was lucid dreaming and like all of my consciousness just stares at me. And it's at a station, funny enough, also. I'm just connecting those dots. But I had that dream a couple of days ago, and I haven't had a dream like that since, or like hadn't lucid dreamed in a very long time. And I watched Inception a couple of times ago on my DVD player, because I'm trying to live an analog life. But anyways, the moment comes, it passes, and he plays another track. I don't know it, but it sounds super familiar, like another like film score that he just plays with no mistakes, mind you, and like at his own pace, at his own, like with his own dynamics. And then this kid comes on and plays a bunch of songs that are just so peaceful, so beautiful, and it's echoing through the station. Again, you can hear like, this train stops at Strawberry Hill, Paddington, and blah, 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 blah. And the combination was just like, so good. And then he leaves, and we obviously applaud him, and he like thanks us and bows to us, which is really sweet. And then my friend and me go to the piano, and we just play a few songs. And I thought about recording it, but I was like, do you know what? I just want to be in the moment with my friend. And we do. We play a bunch of songs. Careless Whisper, like the movies, Feeling Good. And like someone approaches us, asks us how to play. And I'm like, Boogie, I'm not a pianist. I just like the piano. I can't play it that well, but I can play it to the point where I can play some chords and a bit of improv, right? And then he's like, well, I'm a guitarist, and like, what would you do? And I was like, bro, YouTube is your best friend. Just give it a go. And he's like, I've just never tried it. I'm like, just try it. Like, you just never know whether that could be something you really enjoy playing. I'm no pianist, like I said, but I enjoy playing the piano in my spare time. I'll like go to my mom's house and just like turn on my childhood computer and play a couple of songs, and I post that sometimes to social media, like on my Instagram. And yeah, like, anyways, we continue the night playing a couple of songs, and I'm like, we should check the trains. Check the trains. There's like 4 trains left, and I get my ass on the train. She gets her butt on it too, and we go on the same train. I could have taken a different one, but I want to stay with her for even a bit longer, even though we'd spent like 8 hours together at this point. And like to the point where we've had 2 meals, so many discussions and conversations. And I get home, and now I'm in front of this camera talking to you about it. And well, this day went really well. I feel super inspired. I just have this energy in my chest that's telling me like, this is the year. Like, this is the moment that I'm gonna have an impact, that I'm gonna make an impact, and it feels special. And I feel like there's also a part of me that's like, every musician feels like that, but like, I genuinely just really hope that by doing this, by taking you on this journey, and by going on this journey, I'm able to improve my capacity, I'm able to improve my wellness, like all these things that I've been thinking about for so long. And I'm gonna have to add acting onto the experiment. There's just so many things that I'm adding that I want to do, and I want to do it in a controlled manner. So perhaps one of the months, instead of it being about being a touring musician, I'm gonna look into acting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if really the experiment's about really becoming a touring musician as much as just a very well-rounded creative. But I think by posing it as, can I individual train themselves to be a touring musician, I give myself an objective. I think like creative is too ambiguous. Like a touring musician makes sense because I'm like all encompassing. Like think like Beyonce tour, like where she's on stage for 3 hours, just busting ass, singing, rapping, all of that, having dancers, having production. Like I do still really envision that, and call me childish, call me a dreamer, all of that stuff. There is a day that I really want to sell out a stadium or an arena with my friends, like purely me and my friends on tour, or just that one arena. And I see it happening, and I see us donating some of those proceeds to things going on around the world, because I think it's possible. And yeah, today just reminded me of how important it is to have discipline, to pursue things that you're interested in. And if you have a natural affinity for things, maybe that's what you're aligned to do. So for me, that's like acting, voice acting, that kind of thing. And I just think that that's something I need to pursue a bit better. And that's what day 9 has taught me. And tomorrow I'll be going to Bristol for the day, running around, probably check out a record store, check out a music store, that kind of thing. And I'm going to see a friend perform. I'm going to surprise her by going. And it's a Carnatic one, so it's something of my culture, my people. It's very indigenous and rooted in spirituality, that kind of thing. And specifically Carnatic music is worship. So good timing because my cat is using a litter tray right now. But I'll see you tomorrow, and I hope you stick around for the journey because it's day 9 of 365. So a lot can happen in a year. I will catch you tomorrow.